Good morning. Let me thank the Chancellor for that kind introduction. Graduation class of 2012, distinguished administration and faculty, alumni, distinguished platform guests, parents, family, and friends. I cannot tell you how pleased I was to be selected by the administration, the faculty, and the graduating class of 2012 to be your graduation speaker to celebrate this very important milestone with you. I really have a mix of emotions as I stand here with you today. I'm honored and I'm humbled. I'm elated, but most of all, I'm extraordinarily thrilled to be part of this with you. This special occasion, this tradition, this ceremony, this rite of passage from childhood to adulthood, from dependent to independent. Some 38 years ago, I was sitting where you are today with the same mix of feelings that I know you all have. I was happy to have it over with, and I know you're happy. I was sad to leave friends and a familiar life, sad to leave this beautiful campus. Scared, but at the same time excited about what the future would hold for me. And I know that you have those same feelings. And I know that your parents and your families are very proud of you. I've also been a parent sitting on the other side, and I know that they have a little secret that they're not telling you. They're not showing you how relieved they are that you actually finished, and hopefully that you're on your way to financial independence. In 1974, when I graduated, I had no clue what I would be doing today, and I certainly didn't know that I would be giving this commencement address. Since that day, a lot has happened in my life. I've lived on 4 continents and 8 countries. I've traveled the world from Afghanistan to South Africa. I have witnessed the horror of genocide in Rwanda and the joy of people coming out of 15 years of war in Liberia to elect the first woman ever to be president in Africa, reaffirming for us the core value of democracy. I've stood in the Oval Office to brief 2 presidents, President Bush, your commencement speaker in 2004, and President Obama. I've had the pleasure and the honor to serve you, the American people, and represent the United States government as a career Foreign Service officer and as the first woman ambassador to the Republic of Liberia. But most importantly, I'm a graduate of LSU. And I was born just down the road in a little town, Baker, Louisiana, where my family still resides. Who would have thought that I would be here today? You see, in Baker, we did everything within our community, and going to LSU in 1974 was considered to be far away for my family as well as for me. I actually lived on campus, and I look forward to going home on weekends. And as the first person in my family to attend college, my parents were profoundly proud of me, as I know your parents are proud of you today. My dad worked as a laborer, and my mom was a cook, and actually she taught me to cook better than being an ambassador. So I think in my next career, I will be a cook. Our parents had modest means to raise us, but they kept us happy and well-fed and instilled good values and hard work and encouraged us to do well in school. By the end of my sophomore year at LSU, I had narrowed my major down to political science. And I actually told my son not to major in political science, and I know that there are a few political science majors out here wondering what you're going to do, because I had no clue at that time what I was going to do with that political science degree. I didn't have a clear view of what the career options were. I thought of pursuing a law degree, but I knew full well that absent a full scholarship, I couldn't afford to do it, and despite those uncertainties, what I clearly remember on graduation day was the deep source of pride I was to my parents, my siblings, and to my community. Now let me be clear, I'm not bragging here. I'm sharing this with you to say to you that your bounds are limitless, your future is uncharted, and that your life challenges have just begun after you step across this stage to accept your ticket to the next part of your life. I encourage you to have faith in yourselves, The tenacity and hard work that brought you this far will help you navigate any challenges that you might run into in the future. I'd like to stop for a second to tell your story. I keep hearing about what a great football team LSU have, and I'm going to tell you something that embarrasses me somewhat. When I graduated from LSU, I had only attended one Tiger football game. I think it was an Orange Bowl. And I prided myself in not really being interested in football. Now just think, an LSU graduate, a Tiger, in fact, and not interested in football. It's really an oxymoron, and it really didn't make sense to most people that I met as I traveled the world. But I have to tell you that the further I got away from Louisiana, the more avid a Tiger fan I became. And last fall, when the Tigers were on their winning streak, one of my colleagues in Monrovia, a Gator like no other Gator I've ever met, he wore a Gator hat every single day. He wore an orange shirt. He wore Gator pants. His house had a Gator flag on it. And it just kind of annoyed me. And when finally he pushed my buttons, when the Tigers were about to play the Gators on October 8th, and it was a 2 o'clock in the morning game as well, and I actually stayed up to watch the game, I challenged him that if LSU won, he would have to wear my LSU hat for the entire day. And I also committed to wearing his Gator hat for the entire day. Of course, we know the results. He wore my LSU hat, and I have great pictures of this Gator fan in his LSU hat. And so on October 6th this year, when LSU is playing the Gators again, I've challenged him again to wear the LSU hat. So go Tigers, and you now have a football fan in front of you. Now let's get back to being serious. As you accept your diplomas, I encourage you to ask yourselves one question. What is the sense of the world today here? What is your sense of the world today here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, on this campus of LSU? And what do you perceive as your place in that world? This is a question you can ask yourselves on a daily basis, wherever you are, and certainly whenever you have a life-changing experience as you're experiencing today. What was my sense of the world when I graduated from LSU in 1974? Let me be honest, I was frightened. I had overcome some major life challenges, being among the first large group of African Americans to attend LSU. I came from a poor family. Racism was still an issue, and I was afraid that the realities of life would eventually engulf me and stifle me. These were the realities of poverty, racism and prejudice, lack of confidence, fear of failure, and fear of the future. But I have to tell you, I was wrong. Just the opposite happened in my life. The realities of life, whatever those realities may be for you, and certainly the realities for me were tough, those realities actually strengthened me, and they emboldened me, and they made me into the person I am today, the person standing before you. What those realities taught me is the first lesson that I want to share with you today, and that is that life is made up of hard times and adversity. It is not always easy. In fact, you've just finished the easy part. I encourage you to embrace life's adversities, because it is through adversity and it's through making mistakes on occasions that you grow stronger as a person, and you will succeed. If you allow adversity to stifle you, you will not move forward. The second message that I want to share with you is about dreaming big and venturing out in uncharted territory. The initial step that I took to move from Baker to Baton Rouge was a huge move for me, but it whet my appetite to spread my wings and pursue graduate studies at the University of Wisconsin, which led further afield to a research project that took me across the Atlantic Ocean to Liberia in 1978, and then eventually in 1982 to joining the U.S. Foreign Service. The point is, it does not matter where you start out in life. It matters where you want to go and where you actually end up in life. I would echo the powerful statement made by Liberia's President Sirleaf in her Harvard commencement address last year, and I quote, "The size of your dreams must always exceed your current capacity to achieve them. If your dreams do not scare you, they're not big enough. If you start out with a small dream, you may not have much left when it's fulfilled," unquote. I would also advise you to find something you like to do. Steve Jobs, the Apple founder, said in 2005 at Stanford, and I quote, "Your work is going to fill a large part of your life, and the only way to be truly satisfied is to do what you believe is great work. And the only great work is to love what you do." In fact, David Frost said it just right, and I have this on my desk to remind me every day, and that is, don't aim for success if you want it. Just do what you love and believe in, and it will come naturally. Diplomacy has worked for me very well in my life. For 30 years, I've enjoyed, in fact, I have loved representing the United States of America to the world and touching the lives of others through our foreign policy. Diplomacy is like no other job. It's really a vocation. It's a way of life. I know of no other job that offers a wide range of opportunities and challenges on a daily basis. Opportunities to meet new people, opportunities to learn new cultures and see new places and share U.S. interests and values face to face with other people, to assist American citizens living abroad in need, and to positively impact the lives of people through programs that alleviate poverty, resettle refugees, and fight HIV/AIDS. While the challenges may be many, they bring their own rewards. What other job requires the judgment, patience, deep understanding of foreign nations needed to be able to advise our nation's leaders on sensitive issues, including issues that relate to war and peace? Experience in the Foreign Service can be incredibly varied. I'll give you an example. When I worked on refugee issues, I did a lot of people-to-people work. One of the programs that I worked on was to assist young Sudanese refugees, some of them referred to as the Lost Boys. They were living in dire conditions in refugee camps in Kenya, and I helped them get resettled in the United States. We brought hundreds of Sudanese to the U.S. who fled Sudan because they were being persecuted due to their religion and race, and they found a better life for themselves and their families here in our country. And the greatest joy in my life was bumping into one of those young boys on the street and him pointing to me saying, "I know you, you're Linda." For me, that was really a sign that I had done great work. More recently, during my service in Africa, I helped support an initiative that Secretary Clinton calls jobs diplomacy, a priority for the State Department. She has urged our diplomats to do more to help American companies expand their businesses overseas and create jobs for Americans at home. Some of those companies we work with, even in Liberia, came right out of Louisiana. Whether at the Department of State or elsewhere, for example, Peace Corps, our nation needs the energy and passion of bright young people like you who care about the economic well-being and the future of the United States. You have so much to share with the world, and I encourage you to be bold and step out of your comfort zones and do something different. As the Director General of the Foreign Service and Head of Human Resources in the Department of State, I like to use these opportunities when I'm speaking to graduates as a recruiting opportunity. And I'd like to tell you that we already have a number of talented employees who have trained at this university. Currently, we have 56 former LSU students working in the State Department, 34 in the Foreign Service, I'm one of them, 22 are in the domestic service as civil service employees, and I'm sure that there are many others who have Louisiana connections. We've had also 30 outstanding interns from this campus, and I hope there are some of you who are in the audience, and they've told us that their internships provided substantive professional development opportunities and were great learning experiences. Yesterday, I met two of those interns, one who's going to Iceland this summer and the other one going to Naples. If any of you are interested in thinking outside of the box and taking a chance and jumping at a bold adventure by serving on the front lines anywhere in the world as an officer of the Department of State, I suggest you really get in touch with my office. Now let me clarify for you, when I talk about the Department of State, I'm not talking about Louisiana. Over the years, as I tell people that I work for the Department of State, I always get this question. Now, what department in the state of Louisiana do you work for? We're talking about the U.S. Department of State here today. And we offer opportunities to not only see the world, but also become part of another culture, come back with a lifetime of stories about the road less traveled. More importantly, it offers you the opportunity to share your culture and your belief with people from other cultures. I have a third message for you, and that is, it's not over yet. Learning is a lifetime endeavor. In this day and age, it's critical that you continue to enhance your education and skills. Learn about your organization, your business, and your workplace. Look for training and experiential opportunities wherever they may arise. Ask to shadow those who are working in areas of interest to you. Learn a new language. You don't have to do it in the classroom. At work, serve as a backup to your colleagues. You'll learn more, and they'll thank you for it. And always endeavor to be the best at whatever job you do. Finally, I ask that you remember that no matter where you are and what you do, you can make a difference. As Martin Luther King said, and I quote, "Make a career of humanity. It will enrich your spirit as nothing else possibly can. It will give you that rare sense of nobility that can only spring from love and selflessly helping your fellow man. You will make a greater person of yourself, a greater nation of your country, and a finer world to live in." And as you pursue your careers in humanity, take with you the final lesson that all of our grandmothers taught us: be kind. Kindness will open more doors for you than meanness and aggressiveness, and it takes less energy to be nice to people. I hope these words of wisdom will serve you as they have served me. And once again, congratulations to you, the graduates of 2012, and your families, and I wish you the greatest success in the future. I would like to end with one last quote by William Ward, who is a teacher and author, and he said, "If you can imagine it, you can believe in it. And if you can dream it, you can become it." Thank you very much, and go Tigers.